Hello, this is Stephen Primo, and welcome to our first ever Primo Trades. Now, this is a new series of brief educational webinars that I'll be presenting on a weekly basis to highlight some of the signals that our methods, techniques, and strategies have generated. So you can get a better understanding as to how we trade. Now, in this educational presentation, I'd like to start out with today's lesson, something that I learned 45 years ago on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange when I first started trading. Here's what my mentors taught me. They said, Steve, you only lose money when you're out of sync with the market. Now think about it. It really breaks down to that. It's not necessarily that you have a system or a strategy that doesn't work, or not necessarily that you haven't been trading long enough, you don't have enough experience or knowledge. It could be mainly that you're out of sync with the market. For example, if you buy something and it goes straight down, you're out of sync with what the market wants to do. If you sell something and go short, and it goes straight up, you're out of sync with what the current market you're trading wants to do. So it would stand to reason that the very first thing you must get in order with your trading, whatever strategy, whatever technique, whatever market or time frame, is that you are in sync with that market. Now, I know everyone has a different way in which to do that, but I'm going to share with you something on our platform that is probably the most simple but powerful way to be in sync with whatever market you're trading, and that is the fluid buy-sell line. This is a tool I first was introduced to some 4 decades ago on the floor of the exchange, and I continue to apply to my own personal trading today. It is so simple but powerful, and you can apply it to any market, any time frame. Now, I've often said that if I were stranded on a desert island and I only had one trading tool to use, it would be this, the fluid buy-sell line. Now, before you get nervous and think, oh, okay, this is a sales job, I've got to go up buy this thousands of dollar technique or tool, or I've got to upload it to my computer. No, you actually have access to it right now, because the buy-sell line is simply the 50-period moving average. But you have to know how to apply it correctly to whatever market you're trading. And this is the way we're going to use it. If price is above the fluid buy-sell line, then we're only going to be a buyer and the overall trend is up. If price is below the fluid buy-sell line, then the overall trend is down and we'll only look to identify sell signals. It really is that simple. For example, let me share with you some examples on our platform, the PTS Primo Charting platform. Here's an example in Snap, okay? As we can see, this stock has been going pretty much straight down, right? You would have lost a tremendous amount of money if you would have kept on buying this or held on to this position. So how could the fluid buy-sell line help you? Well, remember, the fluid buy-sell line is simply a different way of looking at the 50-period moving average. So on our platform, you would come up to the buy-sell line tab right here in the upper left-hand corner, click it on, in the drop-down menu, you see the different classifications and ways in which to view it. We're going to click on fluid, and there it is. Now, remember, the fluid buy-sell line is simply a different way to view the 50-period moving average. Anything above that 50-period moving average, as you see right here, is painted in blue. Anything below is what we call our red sell zone, and the blue is the blue buy zone. So this means when price is above, we want to be a buyer or look for buying opportunities. Once price crosses below, we want to be a seller or look for selling opportunities. But please remember, the buy-sell line is not a strategy. It's not a system that generates buy and sell signals. Its only job is to identify the overall trend and tell you in a matter of seconds what your bias should be. Should you be a buyer or a seller in this particular market? Now, as we see here, going all the way back to early April, we had consecutive closes in the red sell zone. This was telling us that if we were currently long Snap, we should exit. And was also telling us if we're a more aggressive type of trader, we'll look for shorting signals. Now, this was when price was roughly trading around 32, 33. As we see now, it's dropped about 2/3 of its value. So do you think this could have helped you at all? Trading Snap or even any other market? Let's look at another example here, STNG. Okay, this is Scorpio Tankers. Now, someone looking at this would say, yeah, Steve, it's easy to see we're in an overall uptrend, but I would have liked to have known, months in advance that we were going to be in an overall uptrend. How could that have helped me? Well, we go to the buy-sell line here, click on fluid, and we see here that initially, at the beginning of the year, price was below. But right here, we had consecutive price bars closing above, roughly when the price was around 14 and it's basically tripled in value ever since coming into this past week, okay? So therefore, you knew well in advance that this particular stock, STNG, wanted to go higher, all right? There was no need to look at earnings. There was no need to look at economic indicators. There was absolutely no need to listen to the guys on TV or in a blog, because you could apply the fluid buy-sell line and it instantly told you what the overall trend was, okay? Now, here's a rule of thumb. We always look for 3 to 5 consecutive closes above or below to tell us what the overall trend is. So when we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here, we knew that the overall trend was going to be up. Now, a lot of students have difficulty when they see something like this happen. There's one close below, and they think, well, that's overall trend now is down. No, you need 3 to 5 in one particular direction to tell you what the overall trend is. Because after this close below, look what happened. We immediately snapped back up. All right, we had another close below and immediately snapped back up. So that's the rule of thumb, 3 to 5 closes below. All right, now if you had sold this or been waiting for someone to tell you to buy, you would have missed a nice successful trade here. Let's look at MTCH, match, okay? Once again, if this stock was in your portfolio, if you were holding on to a long position, you would have lost a lot of money. Why? Because you only lose when you're out of sync. But the buy-sell line is designed to put you in sync. Click on fluid buy-sell line, and we knew once again, going back to mid-April, to be out of this stock entirely. Why? Because the stock, the very source of what we're trading, was telling us, I want to go lower. The overall trend is down. And this is when the price was roughly around 93, 94, and already has lost nearly half of its value, okay? So do you think this could have helped you trade? Let's look at an entirely different market. Let's look at gold here, all right? XAU USD. Once again, anyone holding on to a long gold position has lost money. But if you applied our fluid buy-sell line, you would have known once again in February, mid-February, 1, 2, 3 consecutive closes to exit, and you would have been out this entire time. Now, right here, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 closes below. Now, this is enough to tell you that the overall trend had changed. It wanted to go higher, but this was not a buy signal. Remember, this is not a strategy. This was just telling you that if you're going to be doing anything, you should be doing it from the long side. So you still have to apply structure. So if your strategy did not generate a buy signal, well, then you simply wait. And that would have been wise, because look what happened. We went right back down and are continually being below the fluid buy-sell line. Now we can look at a weekly chart of an entirely different market of Bitcoin, all right? We see here that Bitcoin has had this roller coaster effect, straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down. Could the buy-sell line have helped us? Well, let's apply it on our platform once again. And sure, we see going all the way back on this weekly chart, all the way back to May of 2020. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks closing above right here when price was roughly about $9,000, $10,000 in the crypto, all right? And it went all the way up initially in the next year, all the way up to 60,000. That's 6 times your money. Now, this is extremely important. Look when we had this very strong sell-off here. Here's where a lot of people were liquidating and getting out, and that's their prerogative. But the buy-sell line was still telling you it's not generating an overall downtrend. So it's up to you if you wanted to sell or not. And look what happened. Quickly went right back up and made new highs around 66, 67,000, okay? Now, at this point in December 2021, we start to have consecutive closes below. So here's where you should have been out of the crypto altogether, and it remains below on a weekly time frame, well below the buy-sell line. Remember, you only want to be long something if it is above the buy-sell line. If it's below, you either want to be out of the market entirely or looking to short. Now, a lot of traders say, well, Steve, I'm an intraday trader. Can this work on intraday? Well, let's look at a 5-minute chart of Microsoft, okay? How could this have helped us trade on a 5-minute time frame? Well, nothing changes just because we change the time frame. We apply and we see that we are below the buy-sell line. So if you didn't want to go long, you could have stayed out of this up until around this point. Excuse me. We had some consecutive closes here, but then back down below, but then right here, coming in roughly about 257.5, the buy-sell line was telling you it's time to look at this from a buyer's perspective. And the stock has quickly shot up after that. So it makes no difference. Now, let's look at a weekly chart of a currency pair. This is the British pound on a weekly time frame. Now, I want to show you a different way in which to view it. This is called our background feature. It's our second most popular way of applying the buy-sell line. And you simply go to the buy-sell line tab here, and instead of clicking on fluid, click on background. And what this does is whenever price is above the 50, it will color the entire screen blue. But whenever price is below the 50, excuse me, it will color the entire screen red. So at this point, we knew that we should be long the British pound on a weekly time frame. I mean, right here with consecutive closes in the red section, we knew to get out, and look what has happened to the British pound on a weekly time frame. Do you see how simple it is to trade with this? There's no reason to follow some guru to find out what he thinks of a market. There's no reason to follow interest rates if you don't want to. There's absolutely no reason to look at what someone's saying on TV or to follow an economic indicator that comes out on a weekly basis. All you need to do is apply the buy-sell line. Why? Because it's coming from the source of what you're trading. Whatever you're trading, whatever time frame, it's telling you what it wants to do. Now we can apply this to a stock as well. The same premise applied here to Costco. We're out, and then we can get back in right here, and we can look at Starbucks. The same thing. This is a current chart of Starbucks. We should have been out, and then at this point, time to think about getting back in at 77. And the stock has gone up around 10 or 12 points. Now, I want to end with looking at a current chart of the spiders. That's the ETF that represents the S&P 500. How can the fluid buy-sell line help us with this today? Okay, well, the same process. Come to the buy-sell line tab, click on fluid. And we see here, all the way back to the middle to end of April, we knew to be out of the markets. Our students knew that, well, because we're below the buy-sell line, we shouldn't be long the market. And it wasn't until mid-July and July, we knew that it's time to get back in. Now, currently, we've had a strong sell-off. And what do we have here? 1, 2, 3 closes below, but now it looks like we may be bouncing back up. So it appears as if the market is in some type of indecision on a daily time frame. It could stop right there and then have another 1 or 2 closes below, which would confirm that the overall trend is down, or it could close up above today and then continue to go up and confirm that the overall trend is up. This is just something that you have to wait and see, but this is a current chart of the spiders that represents the S&P 500. Now remember, you'll only find the fluid buy-sell line on the PTS Primo charting platform. And the reason why this is so important is because we apply this concept to, I would say, roughly about 95% of our methods and strategies, okay? This is why it's so important to be in sync with the overall trend, because that is what will ensure consistency. Once we know the overall trend, then we can apply any technique, any strategy, any system to that current trend, and we will increase our odds for consistency. For example, as we look back here, let's look at STNG, okay? Obviously, once price is above, we only want to look to have buy signals. So with our strategies, which we'll be talking about in coming weeks, we can generate a lot of signals with strategies that do that. Or if we're not interested in having a lot of signals, we can have strategies that just generate fewer signals. But we are still in sync with the buy-sell line, okay? We can also look for the downside as well, MTCH. We can generate strategies that have lots of signals, or we can generate strategies that have fewer signals. But in the end, we will always be in sync with the overall trend. And the way to find that out is with the fluid buy-sell line. Okay, as we conclude, remember, once again, you can only find the fluid buy-sell line on the PTS Primo charting platform. This is the educational platform I designed with Pro Trader Strategies that actually teaches you how to trade. Now, for more information on anything I spoke about today or the buy-sell line and the PTS Primo charting platform, please contact Pro Trader Strategies. There's their email address right there. I would highly suggest giving them a call at area code 310-598-6677. They can give you more information and they can fill you in on current discounts and pricing. As we close and take a look at our disclaimer, I just want to say thank you so much for attending our very first Primo Trades webinar. I hope you learned something, and I look forward to all of you becoming students of mine at Specialist Trading. Thank you so much. I'll see you at the next Primo Trades webinar.